Hello YouTube, this is Marauders here, and this is the 8BitDo arcade controller. So basically this is the first foray of 8BitDo into the world of leverless controllers. So you can call them leverless, Mixbox, Hitbox, whatever you want to, all button, whatever you want to call them, but basically it's a controller that consists only of buttons, and well, the main thing is that the fighting games users really like to use controllers like these because we can't miss inputs because it's very exact. You just very easily say what's up, down, left, right. So it's you don't have to turn it. You don't have to worry about turning it in the wrong angle for those turning motions. So this thing comes in two flavors. I have here is the so-called non-branded flavor. So this is compatible with the switch or X input for Windows. So one neat trick you can do is in X input mode, we see it lights up for the buttons here. But if I switch it to switch mode, it lights up this other one. So the switch button layout comes out based on which mode you're using, which is nice. So this thing should natively support Windows in X input mode or for the Switch. I don't exactly have a Switch 2, so I can't test Switch 2 compatibility, but I guess it should work. It also comes with an Xbox flavor, which would work directly with the Xbox consoles. And yeah, let's get into it. So on the surface, nothing special. I mean, it's basically what you see it. You have a all button controller. So these are the normal buttons for the round ones. Your up, down, left, right, your action buttons. Basically, it's a very typical fighting controller layout. And there are 4 extra programmable buttons which you can set to any action of the face buttons. Your L2, L3, R3 is here, and so is your select and start button. And this here is your menu button, your Xbox button, home button, yeah. And we have your profile button, and there's a sync button for syncing up the wireless and the Bluetooth sync button. This is a USB-C controller because everything is supposed to be USB-C now anyway. And then for wireless mode, you can either use the dongle for connecting it to your PC, or you can use Bluetooth for connecting it to the Switch wirelessly. But of course, it just works if you just use a cable and connect to it directly. So at the bottom, there is a giant rubber pad with a nice fighting move input controller embossed in it. And in case you need some spacing, you can actually angle up the controller a bit by flipping out these legs. Okay, so yeah, so pretty bare bones. It's just a simple, it's almost pretty much as simple as a leverless controller can get. Okay, it's just buttons and there you go. But what are these buttons? So these are keyboard switches. So according to the 8BitDo website, these are low profile how do you pronounce this? Cal switches. So they are clicky switches, and they are actually sitting on a quick remove switchboard, but there's not a lot of space between the remover spots. So I have this key switch puller here. Basically, these legs here are too long because it won't just fit into it. Once I put it in, it can't fit into it won't be able to slide into the groove to pull out the switch, and yeah, it's actually just not easy at all. Whoever designed this obviously didn't test actually pulling out the switch at all. So it's actually I wouldn't say it's very simple to pull. So I actually yanked it free already. It's just not coming out. Okay, so it's just a basic normal keyboard switch. So obviously you can just replace it with whatever compatible low profile key switch that you can find. As for the keycap itself, while it has a usual Cherry MX stem, there are two fins at the side, so that you need to put them in the correct orientation. So I guess this is to prevent the keys from popping out, and so that it doesn't get in the way, but you must put it back in the same way. But for these extra programmable buttons, there is something special about them, which is that, you know, if you decide that you don't want these extra buttons to be here, and you don't want to accidentally push them, 8BitDo actually provides 4 of these flat caps, so you can actually just take this cap off and put this in, so that it will almost become flush with the surface, and it will get out of your way if you don't need it. But the problem is, if you thought these things were hard to pull out, this is even harder. Okay. I yanked the whole key switch out as well this time. So if we look at this, okay, let me just pull it out. Okay, so this stem, the stem connector was pretty tight. So okay, if we look at this switch design, you can see that there's actually there are actually stabilizer bars in them, so that the switch can just slide vertically in and out without any problems. But the issue here is pulling this cap out was actually quite difficult. And if you thought these buttons were hard to pull, caps were hard to pull out, usually when I was testing how to pull this out before, the key bar stabilizer bars actually got in the way of the key switch puller. So it's not something that you want to be just doing on and off all the time, because it's really hard. Okay. So if you don't want to use the button, what you can do is you can just drop this cap in, and it will basically be it'll be flush, so you can't press the button anymore. Okay, I'm just gonna put it back here. So that's about it for the physical appearance side. I guess the last thing to comment is that this thing here, this is a piece of tempered glass according to the 8BitDo website. I don't know why they decided to just fix a piece of glass here. I guess a lot of people would have liked it. Some would have liked it if this was just some sort of magnetic removable plate, so that you could put artwork behind it, but I guess that would block the lights for the switches, and I guess it would change the utility of the thing. So maybe that's why 8BitDo didn't do it. At first I thought they're using the glass as a weight, so that the thing isn't too light and would be sliding around your lap, but I noticed that when you remove the key switch, you can see that there's actually a metal plate inside anyway, so I think the weight is actually coming from the plate. So yeah, I don't understand why 8BitDo decided to put a piece of glass here. Number one, it stains. I mean, it's just a sheet of glass, so sweat stains would show up. It would just grime up very easily. And number two is, It's a piece of glass. Seriously, I don't really want to think about what happens if we drop this controller. Okay, so before we get into anything else, so here I am in Windows, and we have the usual USB controller applet running, and you can see that the controller is for the directionals. They are connected to the DPad, and of course there is no way to switch what the directional buttons are, so they are just permanently set. They are just permanently set to the DPad, in case that's one of the things that you are wondering about. Okay, so here we are in Guilty Gear Strive. So, I mean, basically for leverless controllers, there's really like nothing much to say about how well something works or not. After all, it's just a bunch of buttons. All of them are going to work pretty much the same. You just want a controller that really uses nice switches, nice fast switches that you like, and you're looking for a layout that you like. So I personally find this, when I saw this 8BitDo's layout, I knew this was for me, because like I said, the main thing is that I like the fact that the up button is actually a bit slanted, and of course because all of these things are customizable. So yeah, you can. For me, I like this layout, and it works for me pretty well. So 8BitDo made it very easy to map buttons. So for example, if I wanted to map this button to the X button, we just hold the shortcut button and the X button together, and then we hold the profile button. And you can see that there's a light that starts blinking. So once it starts blinking, that means the mapping is done. So now when I press X, we punch, and when I press the shortcut button, it punches as well. So very easy, very quick and easy. That's really nice, no software required. And if we want to unmap the button, we just hold down the shortcut button, and we hold the profile button, and it's unmapped. So yes, everything is very nice and easy. And we can also map the button to the bumper with the LME to the L3. So you can map the shortcut button to the thumbstick button as well if we want to. So if this is the first time you've been hearing, if you haven't heard much about leverless controllers, you might be asking, okay, this is great. We have very exact inputs, so I can very easily do turning directional inputs. Okay, but what's so great about the leverless controllers that people keep talking about? What makes them so special and what gives them an unfair advantage in certain areas? And if you are someone who is already familiar with leverless button controllers, let's talk about SOCD. So, unlike on a normal controller, we have no way of pressing left and right at the same time, because on a normal joystick, we have to spin it around. But on a leverless or button controller, we can press both left and right at the same time, or down and up. Okay? So you can see that right now, when I hold the left and right buttons, it's neutral. That means nothing happens. So this is supposed to be the tournament ready mode. Okay? So in tournament ready mode, you are not able to hold multiple directionals at the same time. So, well, that's great for tournament mode, but sometimes when we just want to play at home, or we are at a not so stringent tournament, what we can do is we can enable SOCD. So SOCD is enabled on the controller by going into the profiles mode. And the only way to do that is to use the 8BitDo software. So here is one of the first things that might be a problem to you is that right now the only software that supports the 8BitDo arcade controller is software that is on Windows or Mac. So there's no Android support for this software right now. So once we're in the software, we will be able to create profiles. You can only set one profile on the controller at the same time. There are no multiple profiles. So in the software, we can either visually map the shortcut buttons to the other controls. So when you use the software to map the shortcut buttons, you can actually map them to the start and select buttons. But when we are using the onboard mapping, we cannot map to the start and select buttons. But the more interesting thing that we want to explore right now is that we want to see the SOCD option. So in the SOCD option, we have a few different modes of SOCD, which is that we have default, which is when you press two directions together, it becomes neutral. You have up priority, which means that left and right becomes neutral, but down and up becomes up. And we have the most controversial one in gaming, in the FGC, which is the last input priority. This is the thing that gives the so-called advantage to the fighting games. And then we have first input priority, which is if you press the first button takes priority. So if you press up and then you press down, up is not released. So the first button is not released, whereas the last input is released. So what does this mean? So let me just give you a demonstration for those of you who are not familiar with SOCD. So if we use last input priority, which is what I usually use. So now when I hold down and I press up, you see, it will jump up without having to release the down button. So this means that I do not need to waste that 1 millisecond to release the down button. Okay? And some people feel that this is really unfair because like Mei is a charged character, so I can to do her Tosukeki is to just back forward and attack. So with SOCD last input priority, I just need to hold the back button and then I just need to press forward and attack, and I'll be doing the attack. So this makes it very easy to do and very intuitive. But the other thing that people really that gives the advantage with last input priority is main super is forward down back forward. Okay? So it's forward, down, back, forward, and then attack. Okay? So notice if I have to go dub. But with SOCD last input priority, I can just hold down forward. I'm just going to tap down, back, and then I'm going to let go of the back button, and I'm going to press attack. So that's a one less button press. And in the heat of the moment, that few milliseconds left to press the button is going to give people some people find that that's an advantage. So yeah, so people really don't. Some people feel that this gives the leverless players an advantage. It's debatable. I really don't think that's the case. Yes, of course, I'm a leverless user, so I guess that's why I say it's fine. But yeah, this is one of the main things about using leverless controllers. The SOCD mode does have some form of it does give you some special advantages of this. Okay, so now that we know that we have this we have this ability to, we have this SOCD ability, and you know, when you go to tournaments and competitions, you know, some people are going to really hate it, and they're going to say like, oh, you're being unfair and everything. Okay, fine. So what 8BitDo did was, they implemented a tournament switch ability. So there are two ways to identify whether this 8BitDo arcade controller is capable of doing SOCD or not. Which is, the main thing is that when you are in the profile mode, the light above the profile button is on. So when the light is on, you know that some form of SOCD can be active on the controller. So when you turn it off, you definitely don't have SOCD running on the controller right now. Okay? And also, when you're in the profile mode, you can map macros to the when you're in the profile mode, not only can we map single buttons to the shortcut buttons, we can also map macros. That means you can map the whole controller input strings to the shortcut buttons. So what can you do as a tournament organizer, or you want to let people know that, okay, my controller is tournament legal, which is either you say you just turn off the profile mode so that you're not using the profile actions, or this switch here. So this switch is the tournament lock switch. So once you lock this tournament lock switch, you are now in so-called tournament mode. So first of all, the front buttons don't work anymore, and there's no way to accidentally sausage finger the start button or anything, and you no longer have access to the profile anymore. So that means SOCD is no longer active and macros are no longer active. The only thing you can do with your shortcut buttons is to map it to a single button press on the buttons. So it's definitely more tournament ready in that sense. Okay, so in summary, you know, if you're a fighting games player, leverless controllers like the 8BitDo arcade controller is a really fun and exciting way for you to experience your favorite fighting game. The experience of using a leverless all-button controller it's very different from when you use a normal arcade stick, and it can definitely change how you play your fighting games. So it's also very easy to kind of make your own leverless button controller, which I have definitely done in the past. So when the big name companies started coming out with leverless controllers like Razer and like PlayStation is gonna have one soon, they cost a lot. It was really expensive, and it's like it really doesn't cost that much to make a leverless controller compared to a levered one, since the mechanisms and everything are just so much simpler. So and while there are a lot of those unbranded third-party companies that are basically just using the same chip that I was using for my own projects, I was really hoping for a more affordable solution to come from someone like 8BitDo. And with this 8BitDo arcade controller, I feel that, yeah, this is pretty much what I was expecting from 8BitDo if they decided to come out with a leverless controller. I feel really good about it. I really don't know what else to say. It's more affordable than the what's the Razer one called? It's more affordable than the Razer's leverless controller. It's definitely going to be more affordable than the PlayStation one. But the main thing is that it comes from 8BitDo, so you know that there is some assurance of quality here. It's not coming just from someone who's deciding to manufacture it themselves. So yeah, if you're looking for a leverless controller, you can really look at the 8BitDo arcade controller. Right now, from what I see, the pricing is it's okay. It's still for a fight stick. I guess it's still not as cheap as it can get. But the main thing is, if you want a controller from a known quantity, from someone who you know that they deliver quality products, then the 8BitDo arcade controller is definitely up there as a recommendation. Okay, so this is Marauders. I will see you all in the next video.